Ooh, look at this word. Wasps. Wasps. What's a wasp? Well, a wasp is this. This is a wasp. It's not a bee, it's a wasp. But if you use the word bee, that's okay. Nobody will care. Okay, but it's a wasp, right? Wasps. Can you pronounce this word? Wasps. Well, in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to pronounce it. Hey, if you like getting pronunciation tips like this, I'd be so happy if you subscribe to my channel right down there. Okay, so the problem people have is with this sound here. Sps. Sps. Do you have this problem? A lot of people have problems pronouncing sounds like this in English. Now, why do they have these problems? Well, it's because in many languages around the world, they don't allow consonant clusters. Okay, they don't allow consonant clusters. What is a consonant cluster? Well, sounds like this. Str or pl or tw. Okay, those are called consonant clusters. Do you know what a consonant is? Right? In English, we have some letters that are consonants and some letters that are vowels, right? What are the vowels? A, E, I, O, U. Those are vowels. All the other letters are consonants, okay? So in English, sometimes we can put some consonants together to make one sound, like str, str. It's three sounds into one sound. And a lot of languages do not allow that. That's breaking the rules. Okay, let's look at an example. This in English is called a screwdriver. A screwdriver. Okay, look at those consonant clusters. Scr, dr, screwdriver. Okay, now some people might have a hard time pronouncing this word. For example, do you know what Japanese people say for this? What's the Japanese word for this? Do you know? Well, actually, they stole the word from English. They stole it from us. But that's okay, because English steals words from a lot of different languages too. So English is probably the biggest thief of other words from other languages, right? But Japanese stole this word from English. So what do they call it? Let's take a look. They say sukurui doraiba. Sukurui doraiba. Wow, that's interesting, right? It's very similar to the English word, but they put Japanese rules onto the word. So it sounds a little bit different, right? Now, which rules did they put onto the word? Why is it different? Well, let's see what's happening here. Okay, sukurui doraiba, right? Here's the English word, screwdriver. This is what they're doing. They're putting vowels in between the consonant clusters. Wow, look at that, right? For example, screw in English, they change it to sukuru, sukuru, right? Can you hear those little vowels in between the consonants? Wow, isn't that interesting? They're putting their own rules onto the word because they can't say that, right? It's very hard to break the rules in your language, right? That's why people have accents. People don't want to have accents, but they have accents because the rules in their language have sort of made their mind and their mouth, it's hard to change rules. It's hard to change, right? When you believe something is a rule, it's very hard to change, right? Like let's say, a woman from the Middle East comes to Canada and she has been wearing like a burqa on her head or a hijab or something her whole life in the Middle East. And now when she comes to Canada, here in Canada, it's a free society. Women don't have to wear head coverings. But she still wears a head covering because she has been taught her whole life that she needs to. And so it would be too hard to break the rule, right? It's so hard to break what you believe, and then suddenly you break it. You can't. It's the same with your accent, right? If your whole life you've been speaking Korean or Japanese or Arabic or whatever language, your brain and your mouth are programmed to do a certain thing. And when you have to learn a new language, you have to forget about the rules in your language and learn the rules in the new language. But that is very hard. It's almost impossible, right? That's why most people, they can't get a perfect English accent. They try really hard, but there's still a little bit of a gap there, right? Some people can get pretty close, right? Some people do really well, but other people don't. It doesn't matter. If you don't have a perfect English accent, it doesn't matter. But this is why you don't, right? It's the same for me. If I learned Japanese, right, I would have an accent probably for a very long time because I'm putting English rules onto the Japanese. Anyway, that's what's happening. It's just very interesting. Okay, so when people say a sound like this, it sounds like they say sipis, sipis, right? Like if a Korean or a Japanese person were to say this sound, they would say sipis, sipis. They're putting vowels in between the consonants. And we can't do that here. Now, we can't do that because this sound is voiceless. It's voiceless. Okay? Do you know what your voice is? This is your voice box here. If you say, you can feel your voice box vibrating, right? But if I say, that's voiceless. There's no voice. Right? So it's the same with these sounds here. These are voiceless. So it has nothing to do with your voice box. Your voice box is not moving at all, right? Sps, sps, right? It's just all up here at the front of your mouth. So I'm going to teach you how to make this sound. It's really easy. It's so easy. Don't worry about it at all. Okay. Let's imagine this is a face. This is a diagram of my face, okay? A sideways diagram. Here are your teeth, right? Your lips. I didn't really draw your lips. Your lips are like here, and then this is your tongue. And this here is called the alveolar ridge. You can probably feel it just behind your top teeth, okay? That's your alveolar ridge, okay? You don't need that for this sound, but I just wanted to show you for the S, for the S you need it, not for the P, right? So this is how you make the sound. S. Okay, your tongue comes here very close to the ridge. S. And then it's so easy. You just stop the sound with your lips. S. Ps, ps. Okay, so it's the same S. Don't think of it as two S's. It's just one S with a stop in the middle. And you're making the stop with your lips. Okay, look at this. Like, s, ps, ps. I want to keep saying the S, but I can't because my lips are closed. Look, I can't say it. I'm trying, but I can't. S, right? It's a very easy sound. It's so easy. So forget about your voice. Okay, it has nothing to do with your voice. It has everything to do with the front part of your mouth. Okay, your tongue is here. Your tongue doesn't move. It's just okay. It's that easy. And it's the same with these sounds here, STS and SKS. It's exactly the same, except the sound stops at a different place in your mouth. It stops at a different place. Let's take a look. Okay, so SPS, the sound stops at your lips, right? Sps, right? But for T, it stops here. Your tongue moves up to touch the ridge. Now, I made a lesson on that a few weeks ago. I'll put the link to that lesson right up here, okay? And for SKS, the sound stops back here. So the back of your tongue moves up, okay? Sks, sks. So let's say this is your tongue and this is the top of your mouth, right? Sks, sks. The sound just stops back. Well, like for P it's here, for T it's here, and for K it's about here. Sks, sks. Okay, so it's that easy. It's so easy, okay? So let's look at these sounds here. What do you think? Sbs, sbs, sds, sgs. Can we say these sounds? No, we can't say these sounds in English because these are voiced. These are voiced sounds. And it's too awkward to say S and then a voiced sound and then another S. We can't do that in English. That's why most of the time when there is an S after a voiced sound, then it becomes Z, Z, like the word dogs. Dog, Z. It's not an S sound, it's a Z sound. It's voiced. This one is voiced, so even though this is an S, it actually becomes voiced. And when S becomes voiced, it becomes Z. Okay? All of these sounds are actually voiced or voiceless. They're different sounds, but they're made in the same position, right? For example, B and P are the same position in your mouth, but one is voiced and one isn't. Listen, B, that's voiced, and P is not voiced, but it's the same position. It's the same with D and T. D is voiced and T is not voiced. Listen, D, T, right? Like dog, tog. It's the tongue is doing the same thing. I'm just adding my voice and taking my voice away. It's the same for G and K. G, K, G, K. It's the same position. It's just one is voiced and one isn't voiced, right? The same with S and Z. S, Z, right? So there are a lot of sounds. It's the same with F and V. F, V. Can you hear that, right? F, let me think of a word. I can't think of fat. Like, yeah, fat and vat. Vat, a vat is a big pot. And fat means you're eating too much chocolate. Don't eat too much or you're going to get fat. Okay, so that's really interesting, right? Some sounds are voiced, some sounds are voiceless, but the position is exactly the same. Okay, now in the field of linguistics, linguistics is the study of languages. Okay, in the field of linguistics, these sounds are called stops. Stops. Now, why do you think they're called stops? Well, it's because the sound stops. It stops, right? Right here, the sound stops at your lips. Here, the sound stops in the middle. And here, the sound stops in the back. It all stops. That's why they're called stops. So I think that's the most important thing to remember, okay? That it's the same sound. You're just stopping it. You're stopping it. So really, the P sound or the T or the K, when we say these, it's not an independent sound. So don't think of it like its own sound. You're just stopping the sound at different parts, right? ps. So there really doesn't have a sound, right? It's just stopping it. Here, s, s, and here, s, s. It's hard to hear the difference, right? We're just stopping the sound at different parts in the mouth. That's it. It's that easy. It's that easy. Don't think too much. Don't use your voice. Try to think about English, not your own language, right? Just English, no vowels. Don't put any vowels here. It's all voiceless. It needs to be voiceless. Hey, I want to know, can you pronounce the word wasps after watching this lesson? Wasps. Let me know down there in the comments, and I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.